Okay, so something that's never talked about openly really is what does good look like as far as agency is concerned? I mean, let's call it as it is. Commercial agency is about making money, you know, as an agent and for the business, generating fees, earning commission, or whatever your structure is. But what does good actually look like? And if we're talking, you know, fees, banking, agency revenue, like what's good? So I thought we'd break it down. Now, obviously I can only talk about from my perspective and my experience. I've only ever worked in the SME side of the market, so I can't, and I've only ever worked or owned a small business, so I can't talk about the larger organizations. But the thing about the SME commercial agency world is it's really easy to attribute fees and revenue to one agent as opposed to like a team pot. So that's my experience. So it's really easy to identify essentially who's good and who's bad. So what does that really look like? So from my experience, normally the packages that the agents are on is something like a low medium-sized wage, but heavily incentivized by commission. And a typical rule of thumb that we've always seen, and that's not just my business, that's across other businesses, is agents targeting something like a third of their banking. So they'll take home a third of their banking. So whatever their wage is, their commission on top of that should equate to about a third of the revenue that they produce. So let's break that down. So let's say, for example, an agent banking 100K, they'll take, let's say 25 to 35%, so let's call that 30, 35K. They've taken their wage and a little bit of commission on top. So then you get that to someone who's banking 200K, 25, 35%, but again, we'll use a third as the middle. So that's like 60, 65K. So that'll probably be something like a wage of mid-30s to 40 with the rest commission on top. Then you get to the sort of high performers and those who are doing 300K plus, they're taking a third, so they'll be earning 100K plus. But the point is, at a certain level, at a certain threshold, that agent becomes profitable for the business. So once they've paid their wage, they've paid their operating cost or their share of the operating cost to the business, obviously anything they go and bank beyond that is profit. So in principle, they should then be on a staggered commission rate where once they've beat their cost and once they've surpassed that, in principle, their commission rate should go up because they're no longer costing the business anything for the rest of that year. So it's pure profit. So obviously the agent should get the benefit of it. So in terms of what good looks like, my experience or my sort of personal view, and again, I caveat this by different agents of different experience levels, different markets. So this isn't necessarily a carte blanche, one size fits all, but this is just my experience working in, let's call it sort of general commercial and development agency in the SME market. It's like anything sub 100K needs to be improved. 100 to 150K, okay, so they're probably covering their costs and doing fine. 200K and you've got a really decent agent on your books. 250, they're pretty serious. Once you're in the 300K plus territory, you're in sort of superstar territory as far as I'm concerned. So that's agents who are on their own banking like 300K's worth of fees. They're profitable for the business and should be earning very good money off the back of that. But one important thing for the agents to think about is once you've banked those fees, reflecting on, of that money, and you're taking that third, how much did the business contribute to that? You know, of the services that business is providing you, and you have to see it like that. You know, that business is ultimately a platform for you to get leads, market opportunities, and do deals and earn money. Of that 300K that you've banked, how much did the business contribute? You know, did the business generate the lead? Did the business do all the marketing? Did all the inquiries come from that? That's an important thing for any agent to think about. Start thinking about the agency you're working for. Once you're up and running, you're flowing with commissions, is that business adding enough value to you for you to be paying away your 65%, let's say, worth thinking about? Because it's very hard, you know, lots of competition, lots of things going on in the market, but once you're earning that kind of level, it's really important to reflect on whether the business has contributed significantly enough to that and having to think about what alternatives are so that you can start to retain as much of that 200-300K as possible. Because if you're generating the opportunities and marketing all the opportunities and executing them yourself within your network, maybe the business isn't adding that much value, and maybe that 60-70% split from their perspective isn't fair. Worth thinking about.